first time I ever recorded in life, I remember that for sure. I was in a garage on a little laptop, on a little Xbox microphone. It was trash, you feel me? Like, but that was the first time I ever recorded. That was in high school with my homie SP Cash and my boy Mundo, who like my producer. That was the first time I ever recorded. The first time I went to a studio might have been the first time I went and locked in, probably in a studio environment, might have been with my boy like Davon, I want to say, who was a producer. His name New Message, but it was at his house. That was the first time I went, made a real song, you know, like that. And that was probably at least maybe 8 years ago, probably, like, so something like that. 8 to 9 years ago, probably. That's when that was. I didn't start locking into real studios probably till maybe a year after that. So for me, the like big boost or the change, I would say, which elevated my music was what you said, like the time, the preparation that I put into it. It was the repetition, you know. It's like a skill. I look at it like rapping is like playing basketball or something. Like, if you want to be good, you need to practice on your dribbling and your jump shots every day. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it elevated for me when I went and like got my own equipment and started recording myself. Like when I upped the amount of time that I was putting into the craft, like the amount of time that I could spend on rapping and how many days, like I could rap every single day now, what if I want to, you know, versus back then it was like you can only get in when you got enough money to pay for the studio or blah, you know, it was the repetition. So I feel like that's what really elevated my music from way back to now. Like the difference of how it sounds is because of that, the repetition. I got to learn myself more, learn my voice. I learned how I wanted to deliver it. You know, I didn't want to be sounding like a certain type of way. I'm not too much a fan of just like heavy auto-tune, but my voice kind of monotone. So I had to figure it out, you know what I'm saying? And as I did that, kept going over and over, I figured out my sound, what sound good coming from me. Yeah, with the mindset I was in when we first dropped that Believe, which was my first project, Believe, my mindset was like, I was itching to drop music, bro. That first year before I dropped Believe, I pushed Hittin', not the remix, the original Hittin'. I pushed it for that whole year. And like with my manager and all, they was like, bro, we just got to stick on this song. They didn't want me to drop no more. I was big like, bro, I got to drop. So by that time was when we was like, okay, we're going to give them the first. So all that music was like music I had from like the last year. So I was itching to drop it. I was ready. We actually, we had rented, we got a theater over there where I'm from in Stone Mountain, Lithonia. And we rented the theater for the night, man. We threw the event. I shot a documentary. I premiered the documentary at the Believe listening experience. We say ain't no listening party, you feel me? Listening experience. We brought them out to the theater, food, everybody. We had a couple hundred people out there. It was a good turnout, and we dropped the project, bro, and it went up from there. I ain't gonna lie, we went up after that. Like it felt like immediately the next day we was like moving after we had dropped it. So it was a good move right there. I had loved it, matter of fact. That's my favorite project. Okay, so with the Still Believing, that came about really with my boys Nard and B. Nard and B reached out to me and they was like, they want to make a project, you know what I'm saying? And this was like shortly after we dropped Believe, the project. I grew up listening to Nard and B. So, you know, me off rip, I'm like, yeah, for sure. Like, I'm definitely trying to do that. We literally made Still Believing, like, I want to say maybe 2 months or maybe 2 months. Like, we made all them songs, like, in their studio, in R&B studio. They recorded me. They made every beat. And we made every song, like, and we just put it together like that. Just straight up like that. It was, I really enjoyed that project, too, because I felt like it brought me into a different vibe. So that's why even, like, them songs you named, they kind of, like, they have different kind of messages, like, than my other project, because it brought me onto a different vibe. Like, we had the 7 days, the no plan B, like, gotta go harder, like, you know, stuff like that to keep you like, hey man, you got to go, like, you got to go hard for that, like. So definitely, I enjoyed that project a lot.